Hey, it's Clayton Olson, and in this video, I'm going to talk about how you can create maximum impact in your relationship with the words that you use and how you communicate with your partner so that you can create change both in them and in the relationship. Now, this is not going to be some type of psychological trick or some influence technique that's going to have you pull the veil over their eyes or divorce you from your most authentic self, because that actually would not work in the long run. That would just be destructive. But what I am going to talk about is a place that you can come from that is going to help you really get through to them if you guys are going through a tough time right now, and evolve the relationship to a place of health. So I think it's worth stating that this is a very personal topic to me. It's one that I have continued to work and grapple with in my own relationship, and also help clients that I work with find a way to be more powerful and impactful in their communication. So let's start with the first thing, which is, how do we disempower ourselves in our communication? How do we actually create a lack of change in the relationship? It is typically when we are at a break point where, let's imagine that there's something that needs to change either in your partner or in the relationship in order for you to feel okay, and you're convinced of that. And you feel like you're at a place where if things don't change, I'm out. I'm going to have to step out of this, and that's it. So maybe you're giving ultimatums at this point. Maybe you've withdrew from the communication and you're giving up hope. And those are typically the two responses, the two places that we go as these automatic patterns to this response to this fear that is coming up within us about the relationship. And so the first one is maybe we get big, right? So we move into a place where we get angry, we get controlling, we raise our voice, we get demanding. Things need to change or else. The other option is we move into a place of shrinking and withdrawing and not having the necessary conversations, giving up faith on our partner to even be able to listen to us anymore. And so maybe that even deteriorates into sarcasm or some type of stonewalling at its worst, getting really big and demanding, or withdrawing and hiding and getting small. They both have something in common. They're both responses to a fear inside of us, and one is an indirect form of anger, typically some sort of resentment and withdrawal, and the other one is this outward, very direct expression of anger around this fear of something not working. What ends up happening is, the problem with these two styles of communicating is that they actually work. They work to create change in your relationship, and that's the problem with them, because when they work and we get that hit of like, oh, wow, I've scared my partner into doing something right now, or I think they really are listening now, or somehow I've maybe been able to manipulate them into giving me what I want through withdrawing, we'll see change in our relationship. But unfortunately, that change is typically short-lived. It's not intrinsically motivated. It's not inspiring. It's a way in which we are being tyrannical in the relationship in some way, and we might get temporary relief to the demand that we have, but oftentimes things slip right back into where they were before, and you're left with no progress and maybe even more resentment on their side for the way in which you approach the situation. The other problem with this form of communication is not only the fact that it works temporarily speaking, it's a shadow form of influence. The other problem is that when we are in a contracted state, when you feel contracted inside your chest, when you've got a pit in your stomach, a lump in your throat, and you're really trying to escape that feeling, and then you're blurting words out in your relationship saying, you should change, this needs to change or else, or I'm not dealing with this anymore. What ends up happening is the listening that our partner is capable of typically also contracts, because they feel what you're feeling. And so your contraction creates a contraction in them, which leads to a lack of receptivity, and them either going into one of two options: rebel against the type of demands that you're making. They don't want to be controlled by that energy, or go deeply into fear and they will become compliant, where they might change temporarily. Rebellious and compliant is not where we want our partner to be when we are trying to help evolve the relationship. We have to get out of this fear-based form of communication, this anger-based form of communication, and we have to move somewhere else if we want to create an impact. To give you an example of just how I maneuver this in my life, and this is a process that is loosely based on a technique that I learned from one of my coaches, John, and we're going to be moving from anger into love. The way that I would do that is we have to move from our open heart. We have to speak from our open heart if we want to change our relationship, because that is the most enrolling energy. That is the type of energy that carries with it a certain vulnerability, a high level of influence and transparency, and also a collaborative energy that will enroll your partner to help see what you're seeing, because maybe you're also seeing where they are, and there's a way in which you are moving towards a vision together versus this judgment, shame, and criticism about what's not working, which is often where we go. When we can move into our hearts in the relationship and we can get connected to the vision of what we want to see happen versus that terrible thing that we're trying to avoid, we end up stepping into being a leader in our connection with people. We end up actually infusing the relationship with that expansive energy. If I come from giving you a reflection from a place of expansion, from a place of being connected to what's possible with you and with us together and with me, then that expansive energy that I'm feeling has more likelihood to translate to you, for you to be enrolled in that and us to be working together towards something. That's why it's so important. And I know that it's easier said than done. So I want to go into the technique that I use when I'm in some type of rupture with my partner, when I'm finding myself getting triggered. How can I move from my head, which is this kind of anger, fear-based thinking, where I might be thinking about ultimatums or saying I can't do this anymore in my head and making demands or raising my voice, to getting in touch with my heart again. So the first thing I do is I notice, okay, if I'm angry and I'm triggered right now, where is it that I'm actually hurting? Because typically that anger is born from a protective way of trying to protect myself from feeling the hurt, right? So it's this part of me that comes online and immediately might get big because I don't want to feel the pain. And so the first step that I need to do is I need to move into and actually feel the pain of whatever it is. And to maybe even feel just the fear of what it is. I might be afraid of getting hurt. I might be afraid of something falling apart and that hurts. I might be afraid of not being seen or appreciated or understood by my partner. I'm afraid of maybe losing something within the relationship that I'm holding near and dear. As I get in touch with the pain that I'm feeling here, the hurt, the fear of losing something, I'm already moving into a more vulnerable position that will actually change the conversation. Because if I am communicating even from that place, I'm not attacking. I'm no longer putting my partner on the defense, and I'm actually being more revealed about my experience. But we can go even farther with this. So from this place of fear, this place of pain within me, how can I then get in touch with the love? So the next piece would say, all right, well, I'm hurting or I'm afraid because what I love is the connection that I have with her. What I love is spending time with her. What I love is a certain lifestyle and maybe commitment that we have together towards creating something. And whatever it is that's happening in the relationship is a threat to that. But what's happening is I'm shifting my orientation from trying to protect from bad things happening and getting judgmental and contracted to actually allowing myself to expand and connect with the potential of what it is that I'm seeing, what it is that I'm wanting to create. I'm connecting with a creational, expansive energy of what I see as possible for us through and beyond this challenge that we're in. And when I make that maneuver, what happens inevitably is I start to relax. I start to get really clear on what it is that I would love to cultivate, what I have faith that we can cultivate together. And when I communicate from that place, I'm more patient, I'm more open, I'm more understanding, I'm more relaxed, I'm more clear on what it is that I want. The judgments and the criticisms fall away, and I'm far more in a collaborative, open energy. So as a result of that, what I notice is my partner then ends up softening. She ends up listening to me differently. She ends up being more open to hearing my perspective and maybe even seeing how it's true, because I'm not bringing with me this contracted, tight energy into the conversation. So this is how we can start to move from this place of trigger and contraction and weakness, ultimately weakness of being able to influence anything to change in our relationship, to having the highest probability to affect a shift and create change in our relationship. See, if you want to get through to your partner, you have to get through to yourself first. And getting through to yourself, what that means to me is me getting out of this fear-based thinking and moving all the way through down into my heart of what it is that I would love to create in my relationship and really being a champion for that. And if I have not gotten through to myself and I can't bring my heart to the conversation yet, then I might not have any business really expecting my partner to be enrolled in the possibility of what's important to us or what's important to me. With that said, let's go through just a couple examples of what this might look like on a tactical level so you can really start to ground in and feel the shift from fear into love. A fear-anger response might be something like, you're always working late and you clearly don't prioritize our family. A move into love might look like, I miss you when you work late and I long for more quality time together as a family. Can we find a way to balance work and family time that works for both of us? Another one might be, I can't believe you forgot our anniversary. You're so thoughtless. To, I felt hurt and disappointed when our anniversary passed without celebration. Our relationship means so much to me. I'd love for us to find a way to honor our special days that feels good to both of us. Another example, you never listen to me. It's like talking to a wall. I can't do this anymore. To, coming from your heart, I deeply want to feel heard and understood by you. When I don't feel listened to, I pull away. Can we find a way to improve our communication so that we both feel valued because what we're building together is incredibly special to me? Now notice what all three of those have in common is I am orienting towards a North Star of something that I want to create in the relationship, something that I'm wanting to honor. There's no threat that I'm bringing in. There's only an inspiring and enrolling energy, a invitation to step into something that is bigger and more powerful than both of us that is possible within the relationship. This is the movement from fear to love. And if you want to have the biggest impact and create the most change in your connection, start to connect with a deeper vision of what you think and what you know in your heart is possible between the two of you and speak from that place as an orienting principle. If you are in a place right now where you are reaching a relationship breakpoint with your partner, I have a training that I want to throw over the fence to you that you can, if you are at a place in your life right now where, so if you're watching this video and you are at a relationship breakpoint, you are at a juncture in your relationship where it is either going to fall apart or you guys are going to evolve to the next level and you want to do something about it immediately, I have a training that I'm going to link below this video that you can go to and watch right now. It is material that I have been using working with clients that are in this very specific place for the last 10 years as a coach. And it's got a methodology and a system that I think will be very enlightening to you, that you'll be able to get some gems of insight that you can take into your relationship immediately. Check it out. It is in the link below this video.